Welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings, with me, Gretta Chamberlain, and the Realm of Beings. Shifting Impressions, which is one of the vehicles that supports the transmission of the Realm of Beings, is here to assist you in delving into your being by providing numerous topics and discussions for you to intake as you deepen your connection with your inner world. Shifting Impressions is here to assist you in strengthening yourself as you excavate to understand your true nature. Join us today and learn to shift your mindset, shift your thoughts, and shift your focus to recreate your life and produce a new you. Shifting Impressions starts now.
Good morning and welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. I'm one of your hosts, Carol, and I'm here with Gretta, Kathleen, and of course, the Realm of Beings. We're going to do something a little different this month in June. We are going to have all our podcasts devoted to species that compose life within this world, this universe, and with each other, specifically human beings. We are going to have a special guest on our June 14th and June 21st podcasts. His name is Alan Steinfeld. You've heard us mention him before. He is the founder of NewRealities.com. He hosts a podcast called New Realities, and he is the author of a book called Making Contact. And we're going to be discussing that book with him on the 14th and the 21st. He's basically going to let us know how to prepare for realities of extraterrestrial existence. And he's worked with many, many well-known people like the Hertogs, Deepak Chopra, Darryl Anka, and many others. So please make sure that you join us for those two special dates, June 14th and the 21st. Back to regular programming. Each week, we discuss a quote given to Gretta by the Realm of Beings, usually regarding about creation of reality, how we create our reality, how it shows up in our lives, what its effect is on us, and how we can change it or shift it to what we want it to be. This week, the quote has been given as coexistence and other lives. All beings are created equal. Life, when fully understood, is one of oneness, oneness with a capital O, regardless of how it appears or acts. So I did already mention that we'll be talking about many different species in June, not necessarily from the planet Earth, and we're starting off this month with that particular quote. Ladies, who would like to join in? Gretta's got a nice smile on her face.
And I'm saying, go ahead, Kathy.
Well, I don't even know why you said go ahead, Kathy, because I guess part of I guess I'll start off this way. You always hear the truth is out there. The truth is out there. And that came to me today, and I'm saying, what do they mean when they say the truth is out there? I already know the truth is here. I'll put it out there. I have already experienced individuals from other different realities. That's how I met Dr. Chamberlain. And I will say it was almost like living in a house full of ninjas, because I didn't know when I walked down the hall or went into wherever I was in my house, whether I was going to run into, whether it was individual like an earthbound or an orb or the other things that people are seeing. So the truth is already here. It's just you have to define whose truth it is and exactly really what truth is, what truth means to you. Mm-hmm. So that's my opening remark.
Okay.
I think it's a good one.
Yeah, I think so too. And thank you for that, Kathy. I think there's so many people, and I would bet on it that a lot of people that listen to our podcast all have had some type of what we define as a psychic experience. In other words, there are some people out there that have seen ghosts. There's some people out there that have seen the shadow people, because I just had a woman this morning told me, she said, I saw something in my house and it moved, very quickly, and I told her, I said, oh, don't worry about that. That's the shadow people. So it's interesting that we talk about extraterrestrials and aliens. By the way, I want the audience to know I dislike both those terms. So I'm just going to put that out there right now.
Hybrids.
I just don't like that term, because all of us, regardless of what type of species we are, we're all one with each other. And the shadow people, they're another species. Some of you have probably experienced them. And how did you experience them? You experienced them by saying, oh, I thought somebody was over there. Or I felt somebody went past me. But when you look, you don't see anything. There's something there. Because the shadow people move very, very quickly. I call them the shadow people because I don't know what they call themselves. So
I call them ninjas.
So, but they're really a kind species. I told her, I said, don't worry about that. I said, because the only thing that they do up to this point that I know of is that they hang around just to see what's going on.
They're observers.
Yeah, that's all they do. They observe, they come in, they might be in your houses and they're gone. They just want to see what's going on with this person, or what's going on with this party. And so what we're going to be talking about, I think, throughout this whole thing is how do we as humans deal with thinking about others that are coming from other realities, because here on our program we don't deal with dimensions. We find dimensions. The realm has taught us that dimensions are a humanoid construct, and what we deal with is realities. So they're coming from other realities, and sometimes we're going to other realities, and I think that's what we're going to talk about. But Kathy brought up something really great when we were preparing for today's podcast about what is the perception? What is the perception that we as humans have on others that are different from us? Others that are outside, we presume are outside of this planet Earth. So I'm going to turn that back over to Kathy so she can start us on that discussion, because that comes up with how do we perceive and are we thinking oneness?
And what came to me, it goes back to that word truth came to me. Who's creating the truth? Who's creating what we're supposed to believe? And why should we accept what they're telling us as the truth? And when I looked into some of the other esoteric or pseudoscientists and stuff like that, we can't even live on this planet. And the truths that they spoke about, we can't even tell the truth about who we are as humans. Who built what, when, why, what they look like. And then we're dealing with distortions, and people just want the truth. The audience and people that are interested in Are We Alone just want the truth. And they don't want it superimposed with anybody else's ideological or perceptions. It's like when you look at some of the pictures of that they tell us are extraterrestrials, just for a clarification word, how are they presented to us? Do we accept that as truth? And I mean, how do we know that the people that they say are presenting themselves in such a way actually look that way? Maybe they're changing. Maybe that's what they want to see. They're creating to see them that way because I don't know why. All I know is in my house, I saw a whole bunch of different things. I saw some tall ones, short ones. I saw ones that had like big heads and big eyes. It was like, I tell you what I felt like. I felt like I was a stereotype, and please excuse this microaggression, in a Charlie Chan movie. I was afraid. It was disconcerting because no one else could see it but me. And I thought I was losing my mind. And then stuff really got real. How did I create to see it? I guess Greta can get to that as in the realm. Is somehow I kind of shifted the way I could see things. And something just went like clunk, clunk in my head. And all of a sudden I could see these earthbounds standing right in front of me. I could see the orbs. And the more I began to notice them, the more they showed themselves. And I think that's what's happening across this planet with a lot of people. They're showing themselves. Am I right, Greta?
I would go along with that. I would. And then, Carol, I want to have Carol piggyback on that because we had talked on Tuesday among ourselves about how our beings, individuals from other planets, how are they presented to us? Carol, can you address that for us?
Certainly. And I think what I mentioned is, again, the basis of this podcast is creation of reality. And we have all agreed that we all create our own reality. And that includes whether species is Homo sapiens or from some other planet or universe or whatever reality they choose to be seen by us. But my question, Greta, is, are they perceiving us as aliens? I know that's a word you don't like, but they're looking at us probably and saying, what are those things? We might seem to be the oddballs to them. Mm-hmm. And I think someone, Greta, might have been you that brought up, like, what do they call themselves? And I just go back into our earthly history, the term Vikings that most people are familiar with. Vikings did not call themselves Vikings. The word Viking meant like a pirate, and that term was given to them by the nations that they invaded. Those are the people that called them Vikings. And even though that term has persisted to today, that's not what they called themselves. So Absolutely. Saying extraterrestrial, again, they probably are not calling themselves that. So that is, I think, just saying it's a different species than we are as Homo sapiens. And for people to have the understanding that there are no dimensions, because I know that's very new agey, is always bringing up about higher dimensions, and we know those don't exist. But we do know that right where we're each sitting in our own little geographic space on this planet that we've created, there are infinite amount of realities existing in that same space, and we can or cannot perceive one, more, any, or all of them. I think that's our creation on whether we want to perceive that.
Absolutely. So, that's our choice. That is definitely our choice. And see, there are beings that are here. Kathy is different in that, well, no, she's not different because there are a lot of people out there that she can see, but right. She's activated. See, in order to see, you've got to activate that quote unquote psychic ability. See, all of us, every last person on this planet from infant to adult, all have the same abilities. Some people, and I've mentioned it on the podcast, some people I've dealt with, they want to tell me, well, I have gifts. First thing I tell them is, no, you do not. You do not have gifts. You have abilities. I said a gift is something that you get that you don't have yet. I said, you came here with it, and so did everybody. What we do is we decide how many psychic abilities do we want to activate or to use, and Kathy has activated quite a few. In fact, all of us have activated something. It might not be the same as somebody else. It might be a person who wants to do tarot readings or Reiki or something like that. They have a certain abilities that they have created to activate so that they can do the thing that they want to do, and the cases of the three of us, each one of us has had an experience that is what somebody would say out of earth experiences, some way or another. But it's to whatever we deal with, whatever individuals we deal with. Now, grant you, I know people are saying, well, there could possibly be some individuals out there that we don't want to meet. Absolutely. I'm not going to even try and make it real happy.
Sugar coated.
That you see.
No sugar coating.
Right. That you wish you had, never met,
Heck, there are some humans we wish that.
How about that, Carol?
Let alone people that are species that are not human. So
right. So, it's to open up your mind if you want to deal with something. I know when Alan comes on, he's had the experience of being abducted. Kathy has done a lot of traveling with her astral body all over the place. And
I'm sorry, Greta.
But it's true, Kathy.
I know, because y'all said I was like a balloon that wasn't tied on the end. Zooming. And I go, oh, I want to be here.
Yeah. Just going all over the place. Had to ground her. But, and myself, so we're going to be talking about abductions with him. We're going to be talking about how do we prepare? Because what's interesting to me, and I want to throw this out to both of you. What's interesting to me is that we're always talking about, quote unquote, that extraterrestrial, that word I don't like. And that they've got to be in a flying saucer. They're in a flying saucer or they're in some kind of ship and they land. And what I wanted you to touch on, Carol, was how our cultural framework as humans presents individuals, because they're not people, individuals who come from other realities. How do we present them in the movies, in the radio, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, there's a lot of shows about that. There's a lot of science fiction about that. There's also, people are always talking about government cover-ups in Area 51. And I've done extensive research on a lot of these cases. Instead of being called UFOs now, they are now referred to as UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena. And that just, Kathy's making me laugh. She doesn't even realize it because I just thought of the phenomena from the song. Anyway, but there have been a lot of situations that there's very definitive proof that what people thought was coming from outside of our planet was actually built right here on our planet. I tell people, go look up a picture of a B-2 stealth bomber. And if you want to see an aircraft that looks like it came from another world, that is one of them. It is like people that have seen it would have said, oh my God, that definitely came from someplace else. A lot of the government facilities like Area 51 are extremely high security clearance. So a lot of reputable military personnel, like pilots, who report seeing objects that to them they don't recognize. And the reason they don't know it might be our military experiments is because their security clearance isn't high enough. I also have brought to people's attention, because I honestly, when I was a kid and watching the Apollo moon landing in school, I was so excited about it. I had no idea till much, much later in life that the only reason the Americans got to the moon first was because after World War II, we imported all the Nazi scientists who had more technology than we did. And the main man who got Apollo to the moon and home was Wernher von Braun, who was a former Nazi scientist. With the import of those people, they had blueprints for objects that could only clearly be described as flying saucers. And it's ironic that the reports of flying saucers showed up in the late 40s, the 50s, the 60s, after those blueprints were in existence here. Maybe it was us building those flying saucers. We don't know. Again, it's all perception. And I personally don't think the government needs to share everything if it's going to keep us safe. And if you think about if there are visitors from outside our planet, and we're not sure, to use a word Kathy has used in the past, if they're benevolent, or to stick within our paradigm, if they're high vibrational or low vibrational beings, do the American people really need to know whether or not, if we might not be safe? So, and then again, if it's revealed to the American people, is it not also being revealed to countries that might not be our allies, and that could be used against us? So, you know, there's a lot of controversy over that, what should and should not be revealed. And I think there's more fear than anything because of the way science fiction has presented some things. There was, and people are always saying, oh, the government shouldn't hide it. The people need to know. And I remind them, back in I want to say 45 or 47, I don't recall the exact date, but it was in the 40s. What was his name? Orson Welles, who was the Citizen Kane director of that great movie. He went on the radio and he read The War of the Worlds, which was a book by H.G. Wells, and it was about Mars invading Earth, Martians invading Earth. And he did it in the style of a newscast. And people who hadn't tuned into the beginning of the show thought they were listening to a real newscast. And he was using particular identifying streets and things that people really thought Martians were coming to attack us. They went crazy. They were running out in the street with guns and rifles and, you know, so much for a welcoming party if there really were Martians visiting us. So there's still a lot of fear about this, because just like we are as Homo sapien humans, how many cultures do we not accept or are not comfortable with, because technically we fear them because they're different? And it always comes back to perception and not accepting someone as being one with us because they're different. And we can apply all of this to right here on this planet with us. And Kathy, I'd like to ask, when you were describing your experiences, you said you were afraid. What made you afraid? Was it because it was unknown to you? Did you feel threatened?
I cannot say I felt I have to think about that. But I guess part of it was a shock. It was like you question, did that really happen? Was I afraid because I couldn't control? I was hearing them. You know, they said, I told them, I said, shut the F up. And they said, you shut the F up. And I said, okay, I'll be the one to shut the F up then, because I couldn't,
Teaching them English, are you?
No, they would show themselves to me. Then they would not show themselves to me. And I didn't know where they were. So it was like, I was concerned. I was concerned enough to, I called Ghostbusters. I called a woman to put crystals all around the yard. I almost set my house on fire. I was burning sage. I didn't know it wasn't the sage you rub on chicken, because I wasn't into any of this. Well, who knew? All I knew is that I'm looking at an 18th century Quaker guy right in front of my face, coming up through the floor. I'm looking at orbs. I mean, it was like a party in my house. But Carol, I do want to say one thing. I thoroughly believe that disclosure should be given. I thoroughly know that there are spaceships. I think I've been on one, and I've discussed this with Greta and with you, but at the same time, maybe some of these ships are so large, we can't even see them. We don't know where they begin or where they end. And I look, they travel some kind of way. I know that they can travel different ways, but as facilitators, we go remote. I don't need a spaceship. I've already been to planets. When you astral travel and do that stuff, I mean, look, that's why I don't need to go to South Africa. I can just close my eyes and go. I'm going to let Greta finish this.
Woo! In the work that Kathy and I do the same work, and so I've been really privy, but I've been more privy to, well, I guess I have. I've been privy to various individuals. I met a set, and well, for instance, the realm of beings. The realm of beings is a definite, they have no bodies. They're using my body to go through. Now, I know in the book, Making Contact, with Daryl Anka, who channels Bashar, mentions that he saw this individual standing in front of him, and that was Bashar. And I'm going to let people buy that book. It's very interesting. I highly suggest you do that if you're especially interested in this, the topic that we are going to be handling this whole month of June. But I've had, there it is, various articles in there. And the one thing my experience has led me that I have to deal with other individuals. And through my experiences, I've learned that some of them are benevolent and some of them aren't. I've had to deal, like when I mentioned to you about the shadow people, that's a special species of individuals. They're not people, but they're individuals. And they are very benevolent. They don't bother you. They just want to look. But then you have some others, like one day my daughter and I, she woke me up and she says, "Mom, I've got a scratch going across my breast." And I looked down and I said, "Oh my goodness, I got one too." And that's a species, and I've worked with other people that have met this species. Like they tell me, I woke up this morning, I don't know how I got this scratch on me, and it's coming from that individual. That's an individual. They appear to be female, but who am I to say that they're female? Because they probably have another name for what group they are. They have another name for how they procreate and so forth. So, but I do know I've had the experiences with them, and I've had to deal with them with other people. They look very wiry. They have wiry hair all over their head. Yeah. Not something like Medusa.
Like banshees.
Yeah. And at the first time I met them, the hair is black and they're dressed stereotypically like gypsies, with the long skirts on and maybe a vest, long sleeve, shirts and so forth. And I'd say stereotypically. So only thing they do is go around and scratch people. Now, why do they scratch people? I haven't figured out why they do that, but they do. Because people will tell me, I had a scratch. I haven't bumped into anything. I shouldn't have the scratch on my arm. My daughter knew because, of course, she grew up with me. So she's grown up with all these things. So she knows, okay, I got to scratch Ma. That means Ma's got to go around into another reality, traveling into another reality, and find this individual because this individual's walking around my house, going around. I said, no, you can't scratch her, and came in my room and scratched me. And it's usually just a long scratch. It's not a little tiny little scratch. It's a little long. You might find them on your back, on your leg, across your chest. And that's just what they do. Now, about maybe 3 or 4 months ago, I met another one that is of the same species. One species does not mean that everybody or everything every individual inside that species looks the same. It's just like for us as humans, we don't all look the same. We're different as far as ethnicity is concerned, as far as culture is concerned. So you find the same thing with individuals that are not part of this very, very reality. So how do you get scratched? You get scratched from a person in another reality, and that scratch appears here in this reality.
So Gretta, real quick, because we have to break soon, but who creates that? Is that the other entity created it and you support it, or vice versa?
Well, I think I would say that those individuals created that, and I was asleep. They usually do it in your sleep. They don't come up to you when you're wide awake. They do it to you in your sleep. And so being in my sleep and not saying, get out of here, they did that. Now, what they do with the scratch, I don't know if they're collecting DNA. I don't know what they're doing, but I know they're doing it for a purpose, for a reason. They're doing it for a reason, just like we do things for a reason, because they are creating their own reality as well. And like my house has a lot of different entities in it. They like my house. They like the energy. I told them, I said, look, you all.
Because you're there, Gretta.
But I told them, I said, you know what? Feel free to stay here if you wish. I don't want to see you. I don't want to hear you. I don't want to go around the corner of my house and boop, there you are in front of me. I said, because if I see you, you got to go. You can't stay here anymore. So that's kind of where I'm at. They called my name one day. One night I was sleeping, woke me up out of my sleep. Gretta, I said, doggone it. I told him, I said, you know what? I said, whoever you are that called my name, I don't care who you are. I said, do not call my name again. I said, I will sleep and I need every piece of sleep that I need. And then now you woke me up and I got to try to figure out how to go back to sleep again. So that's what I said. Then a month later, I heard my name called again. I said, now look at this. And I said it to them, but it was a different voice. I said, you're either the same individual masking your voice differently, or you're a different person. I said, I don't care. I told you don't call my name and wake me up out of my sleep. I said, I already told you, do not do that. Do not. And so, that's how I stand. That's how I stand in my house. Yeah.
Well, it's your house, so. All right. On that note, we're going to take a short break. Listeners, please stay with us. When we return, the realm will be here to comment on the quote that they have provided. Thank you again. We're so happy to be here on Transformation Network, Fridays at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Pacific. We'll be right back. Welcome back, listeners. Thank you for sticking with us. This is Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. We are at that portion of the podcast where the realm will come in and discuss the quote they have provided. Realm, are you with us?
Absolutely. We are here in our excellent form.
Thank you. We're so happy to have you join us as usual. Realm, this month we're discussing about beings and species that compose life throughout the universe and how they interact with each other. You know, we're going to have a special guest in a couple of weeks. Your quote is very pertinent to this type of subject, coexistence with other lives. All beings are created equal. Life, when fully understood, is one of oneness with a capital O, regardless of how it appears or acts. Realm, would you take it away, please?
Well, I've been the one chosen to talk to you today from our group. And what we want to say about this is that everything, and we've said this before, everything is the force. That, and what is the force? That is what created all of existence. So all of these different species, be it a blade of grass, be it a dog, be it a cell, be it an individual that resides in a different reality, we are all the force, regardless of how we appear, how we act. You see, it's all the force. All of this is for the experiential evolution of the force. Now, having said that, we want to move to the point of have no fear. Because fear gives you what you fear.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen people, and you're going to hear about our friend Alan talk about his abduction. And have no fear of that. Because if you have fear of it, then guess what? You're calling that experience to you. Now, the next thing, why would somebody want to abduct you in the first place? That's the thing. Why?
We intend on asking Alan.
Well, we can give you a very good answer, I think, and that is be curious. Curiosity. Mm-hmm. Curiosity. They want to know, well, how does this species called human work? Just like you want to know, how does a species who's reptilian work? How does a species who's Pleiadian work? And we're only talking to you about individuals who are in this universe. This universe that you exist in is one of many. You might, and we've said this before, you might be on universe number 235. But there's a universe out there that's 3,962,000. You see. So the creation of all the beings, including Earth, the planets, the galaxies, the solar systems, the universes, all are a continuous thing. It's not just one. So right now, you can say that you are trying to open up yourself to understand a small microcosm of existence. You are, as a species, still trying to understand each other. And you're trying to understand how all of this came about. You have the pyramids, you have the Stonehenges, you have the Olmec statues, and you're always trying to make, well, who did this? And then individuals came from outside of this earth to come and to be here and put things, help us to create things beyond what we thought we could create. Now, what's interesting about this is this. You right now are in this reality of this earth. Everybody who is looking at this wonderful podcast is listening, or they're going to listen later on to what is being said. However, note that you are on earth in this reality, but earth exists in other realities as well, as what we've been using the term laterality. Not parallel universes, lateralities. There's a difference between the two. So you have the being Earth, which is another species, by the way, that you happen to be occupying. It has let you come and occupy itself, and for you to live on it or in it. Notice what I've said now.
Mm-hmm.
On it or in it. You see, there's individuals inside of it that you are not privy to yet because you have not opened up your minds. You have that, what do you call that thing? That
blinders.
Blinders. You have blinders on to help you deal with the reality that you are in. Because like Kathy was talking about all these different things, and you know, you could think, well, this woman must be insane if she's seeing all this. No, she's not insane. There are a lot of people out there that see. But a lot of times your societal characteristics of somebody who can see, the first thing you do is say, well, they're schizophrenic. You know, you want to classify them because they're able to see something you can't see. Remember, we talked about the 5 senses help you to believe the illusion. So you'll use your 5 senses because I can't see this other individual walking across my grass. But Mary Jane down the street told me that she saw an individual walking across her grass. So you think because I don't see it, Mary Jane has got to be mentally ill because she can't see it. So I'm saying to everyone, if you've activated your abilities to be able to see, do not be afraid. Cease the fear. Speak up. Be strong. If you're able to see, that is something that you have activated. And it is for purpose. You see. Now, as far as seeing what you call extraterrestrials, extra individuals on the land, you have in various realities. You see, all the realities are all happening at the same time. So if you have the Pleiadians, that you call them, the Pleiadians, I don't know if they call themselves that, but that's what people speaking English refer to them as. They're happening at the same time. You see, everything is happening. There is no thing that you call time. It does not exist. When you can understand that, then you're beginning to open up. Of course, if you know that the podcast has got to start at 10, it's got to start at 10. I'm not talking about that time. I'm talking about time where you can't fathom that there's somebody else doing something else in another reality. You see, there's reality. It's like mashed potatoes. You've heard us call it mashed potato. It's all together. It's all happening together, that mashed potatoes, you see. And so all of this is happening. All of these individuals are here with you anyway. If you're open to it and you want to see them, then you will see them. If you're scared to death, now what's so funny about that? Just think some of them that look at you, you could scare them. See what I'm saying?
Especially if it's when I first wake up in the morning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You all don't scare us, you see. but we're more palatable for you to deal with because we're coming through Gretta's physical body. If we moved out of her physical body, would you be able to handle seeing us? You see. So we're presenting through something that you can identify with. We're presenting through another individual like yourselves, another human, so that you don't have to be afraid of speaking to us, of interacting with us. And there are many of us, because we have no corporal bodies. There are many of us throughout this universe working with various planets, various individuals. You are not the only ones. And you have many of us who are working in other countries that you have not even tapped into yet. Where many of us, like me, working in Africa, working in China, working in Vietnam, working in Korea, working in Peru. We are all over. And what is our purpose? Is to assist you in your growth. But let me say this. As you grow, so do we. We create reality as well. We grow as well. Don't think because we don't have a body and we are pure thought that we are not privy to creation of reality. Everything in existence, and existence is not just here on earth, and it's not just here in this reality. Existence is the totality of the creation of the Fourth. So throughout existence, there are beings. There are beings that are only pure thought. We do not present ourselves. We've never presented ourselves to Gretta as beings that she can say, oh, they have two legs. They have two arms. They have eyes. We don't do that. Now, sometimes we'll clap. We want her to be able to tell the people that she works with that they've done something good because we know that humans like to be encouraged. So therefore, we create hands. She can see the hands, and we do like this, you see? And she says, oh, they're clapping for you. Yes, but that's because we recognize and appreciate your need for encouragement, your need to say, oh, you're doing a fine job. So we clap. Now, Miss Kathleen, what do you have to say?
Well, I want to thank you because for 13 years, off and on, you've clapped for me. And when it was my birthday, all of a sudden, Carol, I don't know. I'm gonna say it was my realm. There were balloons and fireworks all up in the stars. I could see them just as plain as day. And I wanted to express that as a channeler, and I'm just still wrapping my head around the fact that as a facilitator, I'm also channeling the realm of beings. I just think that when Carol asked me, was I afraid? I'm not quite sure how to, I'm still trying to understand if I was, it's not like that kind of fear that it was like I did not feel like I could control what was happening to me. And I think that's what made me afraid.
You just felt that way.
Yes, I did.
You just felt that way. You're very much in control of everything. In fact, you're the only one who's in control of you, Kathleen.
I know
not
that,
in
Brown.
control of you. You're the one who's in control. Carol's in control. Greta's in control. You see, everybody's in control of themselves. You're not in control of anybody else but you. And we've said that often. We're not in control of you either. Guess what? We're only in control of ourselves, each one of us. Even though we're a collective, we're the realm of beings. But inside our collective, there are individuals who, as you would call maybe individuals, have personalities that are different. You know, sometimes we hear Greta talking to people, and they said, well, you know, the realm seems to have different personalities. Well, we want to keep everything interesting for you all.
Different voices that pop through, and we welcome all of you.
Absolutely.
It's always pleasant.
Thank you.
It's always pleasant to hear someone else. Realm, we're going to have to say goodbye, unfortunately.
Oh, darn. Are you really leaving? Is it the end?
Not for good. Not for good. Just till next week. Kathy, give us a little summation of what we're going to do next week, please.
Well, next week it's Alan Steinfeld, author of the book Making Contact. All I knew was that I couldn't think of anything more exciting than discovering the unknown and bringing that awareness to others. That's a quote from his book. I want to thank the realm, and I love you unconditionally as I love myself unconditionally.
Great.
And thank you for clapping for me and supporting me.
Absolutely. And goodbye, everyone. It was so nice visiting again. I like that woman
when you visit, Realm.
I like that woman you call Moxie. She's nice.
We all do. She is nice. Well, listeners, we'd like to thank you for joining us again on another podcast of Shifting Impressions. Again, a reminder with Kathy just mentioned for our podcast on June 14th and June 21st, we will have with us Alan Steinfeld, author of Making Contact, to discuss again what we don't like to use the word extraterrestrial, but he's using it, so we're going to bring it up in this context. And we have lots of excitement that we're going to have in that show. We'd like to thank Moxie, Kathleen, Greta, the Realm, and of course, listeners for joining us this week. And until we create each other again, be well.
Once again, thanks for joining us at Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings on TransformationTalkRadio.com. As you have explored today's creation of reality experience with the Realm and me, Greta, each of you is being supported by us in further developing the understanding that you are not just an individual existing in linear time and space, but a multi-dimensional force of infinite possibilities who is connected to all. So begin to create the realities you want. Join us every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time and 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Shifting Impressions at TransformationTalkRadio.com. So long until we create each other again next Friday.